Did you know that no emotion lasts longer than 90 seconds unless you feed it? That's right. The actual physiological response of any emotion naturally dissipates in just a minute and a half. When an emotion triggers, your brain releases a flood of chemicals. They course through your body and are completely flushed out within 90 seconds, unless you keep the circuit going with your thoughts. This isn't positive thinking nonsense. It's neuroscience. We've all had that moment when we snapped at someone and then regretted it seconds later. That's the 90-second rule in action. By the time you realize what happened, the actual emotion has already begun to fade. You know how we blame our feelings for our actions. Sorry, I yelled. I was just angry. That's like blaming the rain for the fact that you chose not to bring an umbrella. Your emotions don't make your decisions, but they sure are convincing salespeople. We've all felt overwhelmed by emotions. Heart racing, face hot, negative thoughts spiraling. But what if you knew that emotional storm was just temporary waves, not the whole ocean? The truth is, your brain is designed to feel, but not to stay stuck in that feeling forever. Understanding this is the first step to taking back control. Here's the fascinating part. When an emotion triggers, your body releases a chemical flood. These chemicals physically affect you and are completely flushed out within 90 seconds. If the emotion lingers longer, it's because you keep it alive with the stories you tell yourself. Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, a Harvard neuroscientist, discovered this. What keeps emotions lingering isn't the emotion itself, but how we continually re-trigger the chemical response. So what actually happens in your brain? When you have a negative thought, it activates the amygdala, your brain's alarm center. The amygdala signals the release of cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals make your heart race and muscles tense. But if you don't add any new thoughts, within just 90 seconds your body metabolizes them completely. The root cause of prolonged suffering is the thought loop. One thought leads to another, recreating the chemical storm over and over. This is the foundation of emotional mastery. The 90-second rule gives you a superpower: the ability to watch the emotional storm without getting swept away. Instead of reacting instantly, you can learn to notice the physical sensations: tightness in your chest, heat in your face, and simply breathe. Don't fight the feeling, just observe it passing through you like a wave. You'll literally feel the physical intensity subside as the chemicals flush out. Let's look at a real example. You're in a meeting and a colleague gives harsh criticism. Instantly, you feel anger rising, face hot, heart pounding, jaw tight. Instead of snapping back, you try the 90-second rule. You tell yourself, this is just a sensation. I'll count to 90. You breathe slowly, noticing each feeling without judgment. In less than a minute and a half, the intense anger has subsided. You respond calmly and professionally. So, what can you do right now? Next time you feel a strong emotion rising, practice 3 simple steps. Step 1. Pause and acknowledge, I'm feeling angry. Step 2. Shift your attention to your body. Where is the tension? Step 3. Breathe evenly and count silently to 90. Don't try to push the emotion away, just observe it like a passing cloud. Commit to practicing this once a day, and you'll build strong emotional muscles. The 90-second rule is your first tool, but there's more. What if I told you that disappointment isn't caused by what happens, but by the gap between what you expected and what actually occurred, and that you have the power to close that gap? This is cognitive reframing. Our brains are prediction machines, constantly creating expectations. When reality doesn't match, we feel disappointment, anger, sadness. Reframing helps adjust your perspective without changing the circumstances. Feats. Reframing doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful. It means adjusting your perspective to see the situation more accurately, with less catastrophic thinking and more possibility. For example, you didn't get a promotion you wanted, The catastrophic frame is, I'm a failure, I'll never advance. A reframed perspective is, this is one setback in my career journey. What specific feedback can I get to improve my chances next time? Notice how one perspective closes doors while the other opens them. Reframing transforms paralyzing disappointments into actionable challenges. It's not positive thinking, it's accurate thinking that acknowledges difficulty while maintaining agency. Remember a time when something initially devastating later turned out to be a blessing in disguise? Reframing lets you access that perspective when you need it, not years later. Our brains are like overly dramatic movie directors. You get criticized in a meeting, cue the tragic music, your career is over. So how can you practice reframing today? When you face disappointment, ask yourself 3 questions. What evidence supports my current view? Is there another interpretation? What would I tell a friend in this situation? This activates your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, allowing you to see the issue objectively and reduce negative emotion. Make it a habit whenever things feel awful. Here's another powerful application. The emotional first aid kit. We prepare first aid kits for physical injuries, but what about emotional ones? What if you had personalized tools ready for when anxiety, sadness, or overwhelm strike? An emotional first aid kit is a collection of strategies, activities, and reminders that you prepare in advance, when you're calm, to use during distress. Build it now so you're never caught off guard. Let's create a basic kit. First, identify your most common emotional challenges, like anxiety or self-doubt. For each, choose a physical action, like 10 jumping jacks, a sensory element, like a specific scent, a cognitive intervention, like a mantra or question, and a social component, like texting a supportive friend. Store these in your phone notes, along with reminders of past challenges you've overcome. This proactive approach transforms how you experience difficult emotions. Now let's talk about a mental trap we've all faced. Rumination. Have you ever tried to stop thinking about something, only to find yourself thinking about it even more? That's mental quicksand. Rumination is repetitive thinking without resolution. Research shows that trying to stop it directly only strengthens the pattern. Like saying, don't think about a pink elephant. The key is to change your relationship with the thoughts, not fight them. The 5-3-1 technique helps you break free. First, name 5 things you can see right now. This activates your visual cortex. Next,
Physics movement visually.
location, even just across the room. Then, engage in 3 minutes of an absorbing activity requiring focus, like counting backward from 100 by 7s. Finally, choose one productive action related to the problem, or completely unrelated if not. This technique doesn't suppress thoughts. It redirects the brain's attention elsewhere. Remember those nights when you can't sleep because your mind keeps replaying that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago? That's rumination. Brain at 3 a.m. Hey, remember that time in 2012 when you called your teacher mom by accident? Let's analyze that in excruciating detail for the next 2 hours instead of sleeping. Thanks, brain, super helpful. But with 5-3-1, you can break free. Another psychological phenomenon that causes us unnecessary suffering is the spotlight effect. Do you feel like everyone is staring at your flaws, when in reality, they barely notice? Cornell University research demonstrated this by having students wear embarrassing t-shirts. The wearers vastly overestimated how many people actually noticed. We are the center of our own universe, but others are the center of theirs, primarily focused on themselves. Understanding the spotlight effect is incredibly liberating. It frees you from the imaginary jury in your mind, allowing you to focus on what matters rather than how you appear. Think about that small mistake you made during a presentation. You're still cringing, But can you remember others' small mistakes? Probably not, because you were too busy thinking about your own performance. Most of the judgment you feel is coming from inside the house, a small but powerful linguistic technique, third-person self-talk. Instead of saying I can't handle this, try saying Peter can handle this. It sounds weird, but research from Michigan State University shows it creates psychological distance from intense emotions, allowing you to see situations more objectively. Just like when you advise a friend, you activate your rational brain, not the emotional limbic system. Let's practice now. Next time you face a challenge, notice your self-talk. If you catch yourself thinking, I'm going to fail, pause and rephrase. Peter has faced challenges before and found ways through. This simple shift activates your prefrontal cortex, the wise advisor part of your brain. Instead of the emotional reaction, you access your own wisdom on demand, like a personal coach who knows all your strengths and is always available. Another powerful tool: mental contrasting. Did you know that positive thinking alone actually reduces your chances of achieving goals? The missing ingredient is obstacle anticipation. Mental contrasting combines positive visualization with obstacle prediction. Dr. Gabrielle Eddingen's research shows that purely positive visualization feels so good it reduces the energy to pursue goals. The proper sequence is: visualize the desired outcome, identify obstacles, then create if-then plans. Let's build anti-fragility. What if you could build a life that doesn't just survive stress, but actually becomes stronger because of it? This is the principle of anti-fragility, pioneered by Nassim Taleb. Your muscles grow stronger from the stress of exercise. Your immune system gets more robust from exposure to germs. Similarly, your psychology can become more resilient through calculated challenges, not by avoiding all stress. Introduce voluntary discomfort. Cold showers for 30 seconds, fasting for a day, having difficult conversations. The Stockdale Paradox provides sustainable hope during the darkest times. Admiral Jim Stockdale, a Vietnam War prisoner for over 7 years, revealed, you must maintain unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end, while simultaneously confronting the brutal facts of your current reality. Blind optimists who said, we'll be out by Christmas, lost heart when it didn't happen. Apply this. Acknowledge the genuine hardship, but affirm your commitment to find a way through, no matter how long it takes. Finally, build your personal resilience system. Instead of bouncing from crisis to crisis, you'll have a comprehensive framework that keeps you steady. This system integrates all the tools you've learned, practiced regularly during calm times, not just emergencies. It covers 4 domains: physiological regulation, 4-7-8 breathing, cognitive framing, reframing, Stockdale Paradox, behavioral patterns, 90-second rule, mental contrasting, and social connections, a support network of 3-5 people. Remember, these tools aren't to be used once and discarded. They're practices to integrate into your life, creating a resilience foundation that serves you through any challenge. Start by choosing one technique that resonated most today. Maybe the 90-second rule, third-person self-talk, or the emotional first aid kit. Practice it deliberately for 1 week. Notice what changes, then add another. Building resilience is a journey, not a destination. Take that first step today. And hey, if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts on what I just shared in the comments. Also, I've just started a Patreon to help support these videos and connect with you more directly. Check out the link in the description if you'd like to join. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.